Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far, and a fair bit of spice to dive into today. Crimsix has been on fire these last couple of days, no doubt about that, and he has a few words to say on Octane, and why if you believe that he is a top 5 assault rifle player in the game, then you are absolutely lost at the present time. And tweeting your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new as always, I greatly appreciate it. Everybody outside the channel, thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, wanted to mention this that Morg said a couple of days ago now, I just got standoff hardpoint in league play. Do these guys, the developers over at Trek, even care anymore? Matscons at Trek says, look, I can confirm we do still care. We've left standoff hardpoint in for spawn evaluation after receiving feedback from pros and making changes in our last title update. So when standoff hardpoint was initially brought in, we thought it might be in for hardpoint, I mean as it was in Black Ops 2 and for search and destroy, but for a few reasons, for spawns, especially with what the pros were talking about, but also the lack of smoke, the fact that a Krieg just shoots so straight, the crossing to some of the hills is nigh on impossible most of the time. A few reasons why the pros didn't necessarily like it, also because you move so much quicker in this game. It played at a pace that you didn't really have it played at in Black Ops 2. For search and destroy, it is in, and I'm obviously looking forward to seeing it play once again in Stage 5 in just a few days time with any luck. If it's, well, it's played in the first couple of series of that we get on the first day. I think it's like maybe FaZe versus London and OpTic versus Paris on this first Thursday in just a couple of days time at this point. But it's still, standoff hardpoint, not in the pro rotation right now, and I kind of hope that they keep it in regardless, right? Even if the pros don't bring it in for Stage 5, which we don't really expect to happen at this point, but even if they were to keep it out of the pro rotation, I certainly still hope that they keep it in league play, because I think it's always a good time. They of course do still have a few days to make some changes, but I think we'd have seen the standoff hardpoint or some other search and destroy map come into the rotation. We'd have probably heard about this these last couple of weeks if it was going to happen, so probably not going to be the case this time round. Let's talk about this then. So Crimsix and Octane have had a fair few back and forths these last couple of seasons. Of course they were teammates back in the World War II days. As Octane says right here, we know what to do boys at Crimsix, Methods and Scump. That was the World War II OpTic team towards the end of the year, when of course, well, as a quote tweet right here, back in March now, COD 2021 set during World War II, working title is World War II Vanguard, right, you know, bring the old gang back together. Now, I think a lot of people kind of underestimate how good this team actually was at a time, because in their respawns, their hardpoint record was impeccable. I remember in like Stage 2, or I think, yeah, Stage 2 of the CDL, or whatever it was called at the time, I think they had like a 17-6, or they had a really, really good hardpoint record. Their search and destroy was very questionable. Their CTF, I think, was actually not too bad. So in the respawns, they're actually pretty good, even though the team composition doesn't really make too much sense, but they did have a lot of talent on their roster. There's no doubt about that. But of course, at the World Championship, they lost one series, only the entire champs to the eventual winners in Evil Geniuses in their groups. They got 3-0'd in pretty a devastating fashion. They placed top 24. And at World War II Vanguard, probably you're not going to see this team reform anytime soon, but a strange time, no doubt, for the OpTic, well, the OpTic gaming era, I suppose. So this, of course, was some of the back and forth. The main real, well, battles that they had was during the Black Ops 4 season at the World Championship. This is the major discussion. So this is what it was being talked about right here. As TJ says, if we had Octane in Black Ops 4, I would have had a real ring, not a Mickey Mouse ring like you just got right in the Modern Warfare season when it was online, you know, eat a salad, all this type of stuff. So Octane comes in the replies right here. Now, okay, the major discussion was that back in that day, back in the World Championships 2019, it was Octane on 100 Thieves at the time with Slasher. Both of those players used ICRs, and Crimsix was the only ICR player on OpTic Gaming. Crimsix has talked about the fact that not only was he ill on the championship Sunday, I wasn't feeling well, but also he talked to the rest of his team and said, look, I want to get someone please, someone else pull out an ICR, right? Like Dashy, someone pull out an ICR and to help me challenge these guys at long range, because I can't just 1v2 them effectively. And well, apparently he got told by TJ and the rest of the guys that, look, you know, just get some kills, and then it doesn't happen, doesn't work out too well, especially on the Sunday. Crim does come out and say right here that, look, I had the fourth highest KD the entire event until the Sunday, so didn't have the greatest championship Sunday, and that's what Crim is going to go on to talk about in just a second here. The fact that, look, he had one bad day, pretty much, this championship Sunday at the Black Ops 4 World Championship in his entire career, or at least in the last several years, and that's kind of carried over and people still talk about it to this very day, whereas Octane had like one good year his entire career, and that's what's carried him over, right? And also talks about the whole discussion around who might be the top 5 assault rifle players in the game, and saying that, like, look, of my recent performances, especially at the Major, probably, you know, deserve a spot in that list, which maybe you could argue on very recent performances, right? If you look at the Major, what Crimsix brought to the table, I think he had a great event, so you could put him up in that category on very recent performances. The entire season, it's somewhat tough to do, but saying that, look, if you put Octane in that category, you are completely lost. This guy's had one good year in the last several.
Yeah. Anyone who said Octane, bro, Jesus Christ, bro.
In the top 5 ARs?
Yes, get your ass to church, all right, because your brain ain't even there. So, like, I don't even know what to tell you. You already flunked your fucking education, okay? But like, Jesus Christ, how can one good year carry like a reputation for the next following 3?
Wait,
like, can someone riddle me that? Like, how does that make sense?
Wait, what?
I had one bad year, and I'm gonna get carried the rest of my career.
Wait, so you think you're top 5?
I didn't even have one bad year. I had one bad day, and I'm gonna get carried the rest of my career.
Wait, so do you think you're top 5 right now?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. What?
Yeah, I think you've been playing pretty good too.
Bro, I was literally the best AR last night.
The fifth spot. Hey, the top 4 is unmatched though. You can't touch the top 4. Arcitys, what is it? Cell, Cammy, Insight. You can't really touch that.
Nah, I mean, bro, I wasn't. Not only was I touching both Insight, Cellium, and Arcitys, I was reaching out and I was socking them in the face. Now, Cammy, on the other hand...
No, you were not. What? No, you were not.
No, I was not.
You were socking him in the face?
Yeah. What?
You guys lost.
Dude, we played 2 maps, Tommy, in that series that we have never played before. No bullshit. I
mean, what the is that got to do with anything?
I'm saying we had like 5 weeks.
RC said in the chat, he said he had me. He said in the chat, he said I'll give it to him.
Yeah, dude, yo, Arcitys. Yo, tell me Cammy ain't number 1.
So I guess you're top 5, Porter.
Cammy's number 1, bro. Anyone who says anything different, suck my straight up. Straight up.
Wait, you think Cammy's number 1?
Dude, 100%.
So I guess we can examine that claim that Octane's only had one good year in the last several years, because I think you can look at a few years and say, look, he was a very solid player. Black Ops 3, he wasn't quite on that pinnacle as of yet. At this time, it was, formal slasher, considered the best ARs in the game. Octane may be right behind him, but had some decent results. Won South Carolina that year on Rise Nation. They didn't LG on Infinite Warfare. For a time, he was the best player in the game. I think around this Anaheim time when they came second at the Stage 1 playoffs to Splice, where Zero was pretty much the best player in the game. The event after that, they won at Anaheim, beating Splice in the grand finals that time. That's pretty much where Octane became the best player in the game. But then a couple of months later at the World Championship, I think it was Formal that took over again, and OpTic actually romped through that one. But at a time right there, like Envy and OpTic weren't looking so hot for a time in Infinite Warfare, and that was kind of when Octane came to the fore. Then going into World War II, they win an event again in Birmingham. He wasn't considered maybe one of the best, but that still was right up there, no doubt. And Black Ops 4, I suppose, was the particularly good season that the Crimsix was talking about. Where, okay, London and Anaheim, they win, and Octane was, no doubt one of the most scary assault rifle players in the entire game. Maybe the crazy run at the World Championships, of course, that we talked about, and statistically very interesting, because as you can see right here, 9-2, Octane went on 100 Thieves at that World Championship, and since then, at least at the start of May, he'd only won 9 series since the inception of the CDL. Nowadays, I think he's maybe 12-35 or something like. He's won a few series since this graphic was posted at the very least, but still kind of shows how Octane at that time was putting up some great numbers, and now the last couple of years hasn't been looking so good, and that's kind of Crimsix's point, right? The fact that yes, he might be putting up statistically some good numbers. Last season in Modern Warfare, most certainly, he was putting up 1.4s on a pretty consistent basis, but his team was getting bodies. And at the end of the day, that's kind of how that game worked in a sense. Like, it was kind of beneficial for your AR to just set up shop. At least that's how some people would argue, and clearly how Seattle Surge last season decided to define their team. But people like Crimsix would say, look, he's actually been nowhere near the pace these last couple of years, even though statistically he still looks pretty good, and therefore like he should be nowhere near the top 5. And it should be, myself and other assault rifles that are actually winning championships, or at least getting close, that should be along those lines. So of course, this is some of the other drama that we've seen between these couple of players. We see this from Crimsix a while ago. Now you can see on the porch he's got 0.2 on his number plate. Is that license plate a reference to your KD versus Clayster? No, that was my KD Sunday at Champs. You see, as time progresses, it slowly keeps getting lower and lower. Science can't explain it, but the Lion Man can. So kind of saying, look, my KD gets lower over time, but still I'm up here like, the top, getting to finals, winning events and all this type of stuff, whereas, Octane's nowhere near the pace, right? So certainly interesting discussion right between these two. I think Crimsix probably thinks that this discussion about Octane the last couple of seasons maybe is somewhat overrated, and this is hinting towards what I was talking about earlier, where Crimsix says right here we had 1 ICR versus 2 ICRs, and it was the OpTic Gaming team up against 100 Thieves at that Black Ops 4 World Championship. As Octane says, all good, Porter, I was had this year. So yeah, like Octane obviously didn't have the greatest year in Modern Warfare, hasn't had the greatest year so far this year, at least on the Seattle Surge, probably won't be making it to the World Championships at this point. So you do have to wonder, right, if you're thinking of top assault rifle players in the game, I think Crimsix had a lot of praise for Cammy, right? He thinks he's like right up there at the very top. Crimsix, of course, would put himself in that category. You've obviously got to think about Insight, you've got to think about Arcitys, you've got to think about Clayster probably deserves a mention, at least on performances so far this season. Cellium definitely deserves a shout, maybe a guy like Awakening. You could even throw Mac in there now, given he's been on the assault rifle for a while, so somewhat tough to say. But Crimsix is certainly not convinced that Octane should be anywhere near that conversation. Pretty spicy nonetheless, especially because they will be in the same group, I believe, for Stage 5. Yeah, over in that Group B side of things, it's Seattle over there, it's Dallas in there, and Dallas have been talking the last couple of days, maybe they haven't been so good in practice, at least in online, they haven't been looking as good as they were on LAN, so maybe Seattle can do something there, who really knows, and I'm sure like Octane would probably have a good time with it on the timeline as a result. Speaking of matchups that are upcoming this week, this is a flashback that the CDL give to the MVP of John, that being in the Black Ops 3 World Championship several years ago at this point. This was the start of the Grand Finals, where, well, Envy would go on to win up against Splyce, but remarkably, even though John was going off at the start of this game, Splyce actually made a crazy comeback to win this game. So, and honestly, this is where John was, not only was he doing it with the SMG, but he put out the HVK on Fringe Hardpoint and was just dominating. Like, this is when he was considered widely, like, the best player in the entire game, probably at this point, and he starts off the Grand Finals and absolutely dominates. This is what 100 Thieves are hoping to get, Los Angeles Thieves are hoping to get when the CDL kicks off back again in just a few days. Whether that will be the case, though, it of course remains to be seen for those guys. But intrigued to get your thoughts in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. Really helps out the YouTube algorithm like you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well, and help grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care, and I will see you next time.
John 225 off this dart. Streak starting to mount. Don't try and gun me. John keeps it going. Has heat wave, goes vertical, gets another 6 in a row. 11 in 4. Oh, it's dart time. It's early. And now he's at. Can Maverick find the kills? One in the back. Surely he gets awesome destruction. 25 now off the Hellstorm. Should have it here. Vance peeks the edge. Not someone you want to fight one-on-one, but you do when you're John. 8 in a row. 13 and 4. Don't challenge me through the smoke. Finding it yet again as he is fully streaked out. Looks to the front. It's 9. Can he hit double digits? This opening minute has been disgusting from John.